everyone, and welcome to another episode of Healing Conversations. My name is Inav Avni from Untangled Healing. And about me, a little bit, I mainly work with people with chronic pain, chronic illnesses, and unexplained medical conditions to heal or reduce the pain and symptoms of said illnesses. This podcast is really for people with a message, with a story, with a passion. These people come here and just share their passion with the world, and I trust that this podcast helps them meet the people that need to hear these messages. So let's see today. Without further ado, let's get started. My guest today is Lorrie Berg. Lorrie, hello. So lovely to have you here.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful. So let's get started. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit about you, Lorrie.
Well, I have a healing practice for over 35 years, and I specialize now in helping people who feel more calm and confident facing events that send their stress levels through the roof. I used to be, and I still am, I work generally with stress reduction and emotional healing, but I discovered 9 years ago that there's a way that when things are really intense, like an upcoming surgery, which was my case, people tend to focus more. It really gets their attention because they can't get away from that level of stress. And so, just like me, they often go deeper. They often take the tools and really go deeper so that they can actually have a major transformation and make a change. And then what I find is that um, people take those same tools of stress reduction and use them in their life for any stresses that come up, because let's face it, we're going to have more than just one. So yeah, so I'm really excited about helping people. And if I can say, what happened 9 years ago really changed my life. It was basically, I was going through cancer, and I did alternative stuff to try and not go through the regular Western medical protocol. But I got a signal from my body that I needed to do all of it: chemo, radiation, surgery. And I found that when it came time for the surgery, I was terrified. And um, like I normally do, I researched it. Like I went, I can't, this is life and death. I need to do this and find a way. So I found this technique that's been tested in Harvard training hospitals that helps people feel more peaceful going into surgery, heal faster. And the statistics are take 23 to 50% less pain meds, but I took no pain meds, which was amazing. And I've had clients have the same response. So it was like night and day. I was peaceful going in using this personalized imagery, which I now do with clients. And I had an amazing healing. And so I got certified in that and in something called Reduce Anxiety, that's also been hospital tested, and some things that help reduce the symptoms of chemo and radiation, lessen the symptoms. All of that helped me. And I now use it with my clients, because that's such a terrible feeling when you can't get away from something you want to run, but you have to do it. I mean, you just feel like it's really important to do. And so I know what it's like to feel that way.
And so you say you had the cancer 9 years ago, and do I understand correctly that at the beginning you decided to go with the natural or the alternative way, and then as you said you got this message from your body that you needed to
Right,
do
right.
the Western way. So then I understand that doctors started talking to you about surgeries, and that's when you found that you were so scared of it. And
No,
when
when we started to schedule it, like it was maybe a month out, and all of a sudden it's almost like, and this is what I have a group program now called From Trigger to Tranquil. This is for this kind of people where you're not like anxious all the time, but there's a particular thing that feels daunting where you can't even enjoy your life because it's like the mind is racing about this thing. And so, yeah, I knew I had to find something, because I knew that, my body said, you need to do the surgery and the other stuff, which was a surprise that I needed, the chemo, all of that. It was like, okay, gulp. So these things really helped me. Yeah,
Yeah,
big
and then
way.
that's incredible that you were able to listen to your body and actually recognize that, you know,
Yes,
maybe what you
yes,
consciously thought wasn't necessarily what your body wanted.
that's right. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
moment where I went, okay, this, I can feel it. This thing is spreading. I need to do this other kind of treatment. And so, that stuff can be very harsh, but if you have some tools, it was so much less harsh for me because of all these tools that I had. So,
And I'd love to hear more about the tools if you don't mind sharing some of them
of
so that
course,
we.
of course. Yeah, this is like I was trying to break down like what are the three main areas that I work with. And this is in my group program as well, which is first, you want to get physical, get moving. Because when you're in this threat stress, this fight flight, people are pretty familiar with it, where the mind is racing, you're sort of thinking about the past or imagining terrible things for the future, or your heart's beating. You want to find a way to help that. And just taking a walk or dancing, or we do qigong, these Chinese health exercises that help the sort of all that energy move down the body and into the feet, where you can just start to feel you're in your heart more, which is a very different state than when the mind is sort of locked into that racing. So that's one, get physical. Second, get more internally focused, because a lot of times when we're in that kind of reactive stress, we're focused on things outside. Like even that article, that they read about some surgery that didn't go well, or your aunt had a problem, or if it's about a presentation, it's because I just want to say I work with surgery, but also dental procedures, presentations, performance, exams, or upcoming, if you're going through a major life change, like moving or breakup or a job change. So all of these things I work with, and they're
Mhm.
very similar tools. And then, like in my program, I do individual sessions with people to work with their individual issue. And then we have 3 group Zoom calls where we can work with general stress tools. So the second one, getting more internal, we use mindfulness-based stress reduction to help get in the body more and be more present, because that's where the potency is, when you're here rather than reacting to something outside. And then the third one is get out of black and white thinking. The way we talk to ourselves is so important. And so many times, and it's nobody's fault, the mind's sort of trained to be assessing threat. But if we're using these words like always, never, I'm never going to get over this, I'm never going to be able to do X, or always, it locks us in, and it's not even accurate, because life is about change. So if we use words like possibilities and at this time, but I think something else might be possible, it literally opens up your future. So those are the 3 areas that I cover in either individual or my group program. And
I
it's
love it.
yeah,
I love it. Of course, as you say, stress is. We know that stress causes so much problem to all of us, you know, and
yes,
a lot of the
yes,
time, you know, we don't even recognize. We will say, yeah, everything is
yes,
okay. I'm okay.
yes,
Everything's fine. But inside there is that thing that is eating away at us.
that's right,
And I think,
that's
as you
right,
say, when you about to go into, you know, major surgery or other life changes, when all of a sudden you think, I just can't do it. You know, there's
exactly,
something, but what
exactly.
do you do? And so I love that you're, you know, you're offering that place for people to actually get some tools and recognize that there are some things that they can do with it, that they can deal with it.
Yes,
And what you're saying about, you know, black and white, you know, minds.
that's
Yeah.
right. we, we all do it. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
we have to retrain ourselves, is what I have found. And by the
Yes.
way, one of the things that I learned, because my work, um, some of my work, this energy healing I do called body wisdom healing, it's based on work developed by a molecular biologist who was so impressed with energy healing that she became a teacher and developed with a doctor of Chinese medicine this technique, that so it will bring in, you can do it from anywhere. I do it by Zoom and phone. It brings in the latest cutting edge science and health findings. So there's all kinds of things that happen with epigenetics, our lifestyle, and literally what happens with the genes where we're sort of locking down about certain things. And you might say, ever since so and so, it's been like this. And there's things we can do that go deeper in the body that really help people make major changes that last. So there's so many influences about emotions, what happened when you were 7 years old, so all these things we bring in so that we can really tailor it to the particular person who may have similar symptoms, but gets there in a very different way. So I just find that fascinating. And I know you do this kind of thing as well. It's like an adventure where you don't know what's going to happen next. And yeah, it just feels good.
I was working with someone yesterday, doing the Bodyguard energy healing, and we were dealing with, I think we were dealing with confidence, and I said, okay, so let's find out. And the first thing that her subconscious mind led us to was an essential oil, and it was just so funny because it was like, yes, consciously we thought we were going to go into the energy field, into energy area of the app, but actually we got taken somewhere completely different. And it was exactly that. We have no idea until we really dig deep.
That's right.
Yeah, the
But
right
that's what's
question.
so alive about it. I was thinking about what is my purpose in life? And really, it's to help inspire people and help people sort of ignite something in them that feels more alive and present and, more joy. But the thing is, as we know, we can't get there if we've got these stresses and things that are distracting us where we can't even be present. Again, nobody's fault, but so we got to work with that because we can't jump over that. And believe me, I would. I would if I could. But, and I want to say another thing, which is, I know for me, when I went through cancer and all these different things and used these tools, there's a feeling on the other side sometimes that I felt like so powerful and potent, and like I had sort of found a strength in myself that I didn't even know I had. And even though we don't consciously think we sign up for these things, that a lot of people going through my program, they find a part of themselves that they didn't even know they had, and that's there for the rest of their lives. And that part is amazing. Even though, again, it's like, ooh, what you have to go through is not easy. Not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often say that to people that come to me, and as we walk together, I always ask, what is the gift? What did this situation, this illness, this ailment, all of that, what did that give you? And of course, people, as you say, they don't think about it as a gift necessarily,
Yeah.
but when we ask it in this way, all of a sudden they can see why things needed to happen in this way, so that they can really come out the other side,
Yes.
really embracing who they really are. Because before that, we're just going around, we're not allowing ourselves to shine, we're not allowing ourselves to be who we're really meant to be. So yeah, I totally agree with that, but I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about that. How do people find these amazing little gems that are buried so deep inside of them, and how do they use them, or what do they discover when they come out the other side?
Well, the three things that I said, they learn tools to be able to, like, when I'm stressed like that, what can I do? I can take a walk around the block. I can put on
Mhm.
some music and start dancing to kind of move the energy from, where it's sort of stuck. And I would say that a lot of people who work with me find their sense of their heart, this opening in their heart, and their sense of more of their purpose of what they really want to do, rather than what they are doing. So we use tools like mindfulness-based stress reduction, where you're working with just breathing and feeling each moment, feeling sensations, feeling the rising and falling of the breath at the belly and things like that, that can take you from being,
Everywhere.
alarmed and out there to just using the breath as an anchor, feeling the space between the inhale and the exhale. Things like that, simple things. I know you know this too, right? There's simple things, but they take us from, all these other places to just being here,
Yeah.
you know? And then Qigong, we do movement, things where we're opening and closing and getting energy flowing through the body. And when that happens, the right amount, they call it qi, it's not only relaxes the body, but it brings you more into your heart, and your mind relaxes as well. And so things like that. I think that's what you're asking me. I wasn't quite sure
Right.
what you.
And I was asking something slightly differently, but that's
Yes.
okay. I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. All right.
But I love that you explain more about these two things, because as you were saying it, I could already sense how calming that is. And you're right, people do. They're all in. We are all in our heads, and I guess, as you say, when you have a particularly stressful situation coming up, it's easy to just let go of the sense that calming down is possible. And as you were just speaking about these things, I could really sense that actually calming down is, you can't do that. So
And being
even,
more present, where you're feeling all the sensations and life, in a way that when we're not there, when we're like, oh, it's like we're missing. Let's say I'm going to give a presentation. I want to be there for it, as opposed to like not in my body. And so people find that
mm,
the weeks leading up to these things, they start to feel more peaceful and more creative, because when you're more relaxed, you can let more in. And during the thing, some of them feel like they could be more present and just enjoy the whole experience.
yeah, I imagine that for some people listening, this whole idea of being more present, or really, you know, calming down, or not, allowing the stress to be so prevalent. I think that can be a little bit alien, but I really like that. What you're talking about. There's different methods and different ways, and people just need to allow something in, so that they can really bring this something out.
And also, I do so many different things because I want people to find what's right for people, because that's another thing, isn't it? Some people, they won't do something, it's just not for them. So, for
Yeah.
instance, just even laughing, there's a lot of humor in what I do. And laughing takes you out of that left brain that can be so intense and into that more intuitive, fun,
Mm.
creative place. Like, that's just something people can do. Watch some funny movies, to get them out of that kind of
Yeah.
locked in place. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the group work that you do, because you said you do some individual work and then you come
Right.
together.
Yes, I have a group program that's going to start in May, and we're going to do 3 group sessions. The first one will be about getting physical, where we'll do Qigong, these Chinese health exercises that help you, get, they call it the Qi moving through the body, where it's just really an optimal state of health for the mind, body, and heart, which actually strengthens your immune system when you're in a good state. So that's a lot of fun. And we'll be doing also some exercises that activate the vagus nerve, which is that rest and settle, so that you can learn some simple things you could do. Like right now, you can hum or even gargle, and that will activate the vagus nerve to help relax you, like simple things like that. And then we'll have individual sessions, so that, one person may be worried about a presentation, another about a dental procedure. I just want to mention that I had a client who, she'd had dental anxiety for years, and she wanted to work with me. And I said, well, usually I suggest a couple of days, a week or two before, to listen to this personalized imagery we come up with. And so I said, when is your dental appointment? And she said, this afternoon. So I said, well, let's give it a go. And she was game. And she told me, I wondered what the results would be, right? She says, Lorrie, this was amazing. I was sitting in the dental chair, and it's like all the images, like these beloved family members and this home by the lake, and all these things came to her, and it was as if they were with her while she was going through this, and she didn't feel afraid. She felt amazing. So there's just like big surprises that can happen with this work. Oh. So, so anyway, all these different, the individual sessions are so people can they have many different things they're dealing with, but that bring up that kind of threat, stress, fight, flight, where your mind's racing. And that
Mhm.
we know that that is not a good place to spend a lot of time. It's meant for like the jungle when a tiger's going to jump out with you, the blood goes to the extremities and you can run or fight. But every day, being in it a lot, it deteriorates the body. So we want to bring them into either relaxation or something called challenge stress, which is that thing we're talking about when you get through something and you feel like amazing. That's like going to the gym and it
Mhm.
actually is good for your body. So and then the third thing, the self-talk and languaging is so important in our group session. We'll do it um, because, yeah, that thing about locking ourselves in. I'm never going to get out of this, and we learn that. We learn that as kids, to talk that way. Everybody does it,
Yeah.
but if we can find ways, like here's a phrase, up until now, it just changes it, or I think there might be some possibility. Or, I noticed that, I used to do this, but now it's starting to change.
Yeah.
Just feel the difference between I never or I always, and that sense of things are changing. And
I
so
love that.
this is stuff I've studied for over 35 years, and I feel so excited to bring it together with a group because it's very dynamic. All the different aspects that have helped me and my clients. And
Mm.
and also be inspired by the people who come and things that they teach us as well. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. So I'll give a link, or Aina will give a link to it says relieve situational stress, and you'll get. Oh, can I tell about the gift that I'm giving, or
Yeah,
is it
sure.
too early?
It's okay. We can talk about it now as well.
Yes. Well, I just want to offer your listeners a free 30-minute discovery session because I know the things I'm saying are kind of general and everyone has a specific, sort of journey that they're on. And so that'll be a session where I can hear what's going on with you and we could talk about, I can give recommendations about things you can use right away that can help. And then, it's totally free. But if you'd like to talk further about seeing if we might be a fit to work further together for the group program or individual, we can also talk about that. But there's absolutely no pressure. It's just a conversation, or I want to, support you in where you want to go. So, yeah, so I'm excited because I love meeting new people and finding out what's going on with them and if there's a way I might be able to help. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like I said earlier, or I will also say later, we will put all of your links later on in the chat so people can reach out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
definitely the discovery call link will be there as well. But I just wanted to go back to the
Yes.
work that you're doing with people. Can you, I mean, other than the woman with the dentist, what other stories, success stories, can
Oh,
you
sure.
share
Yeah.
with us?
Well, I want to tell you something because I'm from New York and I live in San Francisco. And some of your listeners may not know, but New Yorkers are kind of like, I have the feeling that English people are this way too, that it's like no BS. Like we really want the authentic. But I came out
Mhm.
here and I do all these things that are kind of woo woo, so to speak. Like, but I call it woo woo that works. So there was a
Right.
woman that I worked with actually who was going through radiation. And I did some stuff with her where I didn't even know that this was going to happen, but she was in that phase of being really in this. There's a phase where you're really like a bad sunburn, and it's very uncomfortable. And I did this thing where it just seemed to take the sunburn out of her. And another thing we did as well, where there's like a kind of a tightness in the tendons that can happen, um, that started to soften. And she said, Lorrie, I'm from the Midwest and we don't believe this kind of thing. And I said, I know, I'm from New York and we don't either, but it seems to be working. So let's go with it. So that was one. And then I've had people who they have something going on with them where nothing seems to really work over time. I had one woman who she had to leave her. Oh, it hurts my heart. She had a whole life overseas and she had a marriage and all these friends, and things happened where she had to leave all of it. and her mind was racing. And, you know, she just wasn't happy to go back home. And we did work together, and she was able to quiet her racing mind. She said, "Ah, I could cry." This is on my website. She has a testimonial. She said, "For the first time, I'm knowing a sense of peace, you know, where that has stopped." Um, yeah, it just touches me. I've been through these things too, and it really touches me. This is a
Yeah.
little different, but about physical pain. I've also worked with that where people, this one woman had hurt her hip. Um, this man had parked too close to her, and when she had to go in the passenger side, and I don't know the English way, but we like climbing over it's the same thing, climbing over the gear shift to get into the driver's side, and she hurt her hip. And for over a year, she was about 70, she couldn't go to her exercise class. And her daughter was a chiropractor, would adjust it from time to time when she visited, but it didn't last. So what we found when she came to me was that there was a whole emotional resentment about this person parking too close to her. And we work with that. There's a way in my work where we can sort of take out the charge from the emotions. And we work with the area itself and a lot of other things that came up. She was visiting in San Francisco. That was when I used to do in-person work. And she walked the hills of San Francisco. She went back to New York, and she went back to her exercise class because there was this resentment in there that no matter what the physical adjustment was, and I know you know this in your work,
Yeah.
that was permeating everything. And that's almost miraculous how that can work sometimes, you know?
Yeah. But I love hearing you speak about these things, because it really does show that if you're willing to try, there's no end to what you can find, you know, and there's little shifts and the bigger shifts, and you know, maybe you can't exactly predict what every person will have, but
Right,
actually
right.
you know that they will get something and there will be a relief. And so it sounds so fascinating, really.
Thank you. Well, it's been an adventure, and I'm definitely tested on myself as well as friends and clients have taught me so much. I just, you know, I think you do too. I just love helping people feel good, you know, be able to do what they came here to do and feel more
Yeah.
joy and fun and lightness, especially in our world today, because there's so much stress. And after the last few years, it's just been such a shock for people. So, you know, there's help. And then you
Yeah.
could take these tools and run with them, you know, and do them with yourself and feel empowered. And I like
Yeah.
that too.
Amazing. Well, Laurie, thank you so much for being here with me, and you know, telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you do. So, as I said, we will leave all of the links later on in the chat, and hopefully and obviously, people can get in touch to have that conversation with you. But thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a joy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you.